Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're going to take the tone down a little bit, get a little bit more mellow, because while I always shed tears at these stories because I'm laughing so hard I can't stop crying, today we're talking about stories that made you shed actual tears, that made you cry, that made you emotional to a point where you just couldn't help but let it out. Now, if you have a story that made you shed some tears at your table, feel free to leave it in the comments below or on our subreddit r/MrRipper. Until then, let's get on with when have you shed tears at the table? As a DM, when I'm running the final session of a campaign, I do not consider it a success unless I make my players genuinely feel every emotion in the book. Happiness, rage, sadness, hype, and of course that euphoria of triumph and coming out victorious despite the odds. Luckily, my last campaign's ending was able to pull it off perfectly. At least if I'm getting them to start tearing up twice during the session was any indication. This is a bit of a long one, so hold on tight. As they marched towards the altar that held the power to save the world, rage burning in their hearts at the demise of an ally last session, and their favorite NPC being deathly wounded trying to save them, they were confronted with their greatest challenge yet, an unknown trial that would truly put them to the test. They entered the trial without hesitation. The trial itself separated each party member from each other and forced them to live out their worst fears, though to them, this was indistinguishable from reality. Our fighter saw his family, the rest of the party, and a group of liberated slaves get mercilessly slaughtered by giants, and a man he thought a friend. He was powerless to stop it and was blamed for their deaths. He marched and decimated a giant's home with an army, but only after he had killed a civilian giant in front of his children did he realize what he had become, as he realized that it was a twisted reflection of what started him on this path. Our bard saw their home, the orphanage where he was raised and which he still protected, go up in flames with their best friend still inside. They were nearly able to save them, but as the roof caved in, their friend pushed them to safety. They had to watch as their friend gave their life for them, while their home crumbled around them, and then was forced to defend their friend's corpse from the very dogs that once mauled the bard themselves. Our druid saw the dark truths of man and what lies beyond the stars, enduring mental torture at the hands of a mind flayer, and unable to see the beauty of our own world as he once did. And our paladin, faced his greatest mistake. In his past, he was a mercenary who killed anyone for the right price, until the day he spilled innocent blood for the first and last time. Now his own family was put in danger and threatened with death. The actual mastermind of the plot? The child of the innocent man he killed. A sloppy fighter who could barely grasp a dagger, but still, he tried to fight the paladin, who himself could not bring himself to hurt the kid. To the child, the paladin was nothing more but the monster who took their father away, and he always would be. The child's last act before passing out from exhaustion was to beg to have their father back. While the party passed the trial by overcoming these fears and displaying the virtues worthy of the heroes of old, it still affected them and their players deeply. And that was just the first time they were teary-eyed and stunned with silence that session. The second time was after the world was saved and the big bad evil guy was defeated. For you see, our bard was living on borrowed time. They had lost their life in a battle against the servant of a lich, but were revived by Paylor. However, this second life would only see them through until the quest's completion. With the last battle won, their time was finally up, and it was time for them to bid farewell as their body dissolved into motes of light. And on that night, a new star graced the sky, a poet's soul to guide the lost and watch over the world it had saved. So yeah, very emotional session to say the least. In my nearly 7 years of playing 5th edition, I've only cried real tears a few times at the table. The second time is more eventful, so I'll tell that one. I was playing an 8-foot-tall, war-forged fighter named Damascus, and they were created by the evil empire of the second campaign as a prototype of mechanical soldiers to fight their wars. The project was scrapped when the empire discovered they could acquire an army of fiends by selling the souls of prisoners. But Damascus's mother gave them a reverence for sentient life, and because of this, Damascus swore they would never willingly kill a sentient creature, always dealing non-lethal damage. They even wore a cute bunny mask to hide the intimidating face that they were designed with. I built them to be a Boy Scout in every regard, helpful, friendly, and kind. For example, Damascus offered to let a man wanted for tax evasion and his daughter stay in their apartment, and recommended a place where the man could find stable work, even giving him some gold to help feed the two of them. It was the most selfless thing Damascus had done in-game, and we only met that guy once. I joined the party with this character because the DM said the party needed a moral compass, as they were on the path of becoming murder hobos. Ugh, no one likes those. And I was more than happy to bring this jolly, gentle giant to the table. When a major earthquake hit the city they had called home for some time, they were understandably sad when they could not help with the relief effort because the party had more pressing and time-sensitive needs. When we arrived in the very next city, the rogue of the party, whom Damascus had formed a sort of big brother relationship with, had been strong-armed into delivering a bag to a crime boss's sister to help her escape from prison. The party agreed Damascus should accompany the rogue so nothing bad would happen. Then, something terrible happened. The woman we helped escape, Kona, is a clinically insane monster who likes to use explosives. The DM described her as a cross between Harley Quinn and Jinx from League of Legends. The bag Damascus gave her was a bag of holding with all of her explosives. Me and the rogue were able to get out, but not before Kona had blown up half the prison, killing some guards. She then took her mayhem to the streets, much to my fighters' horror. They begged the rogue to stay and help, but being understandably scared, he instead ran. They were left alone and immediately began helping as many people as they possibly could, expending every charge from their staff of healing and rolling 10 medicine checks to help others. I thank the stars I never rolled below a 15 for any of them. I've never had luck that good before or since. When the rest of the party found Damascus, they were slumped over next to a building, exhausted and covered in the blood of those he had helped. Or so he thought he had done, anyway. When the dust settled, we discovered that 40 innocent people had been slaughtered because of my actions. It broke both me and Damascus. I remember the line, "Do you know what it's like when you want to cry but you physically can't?" Forced some tears out of me, and I muted myself to compose myself while the party discussed what their next move was. The rogue's player later told me that he was intimidated by the roleplay and said he wants to get to that level one day. The thing was, it wasn't acting. Those were very real emotions. I was playing Thunk, the half-orc barbarian with 6 intelligence. Within the first 10 sessions, we lost a party member. I threw in a random backstory detail that in Thunk's tribe, it was a sign of respect to a fallen comrade in arms to build a funeral pyre, and the greatest warriors and chiefs were paid tribute to their lives by keeping vigil over the pyre until the ashes had cooled. So without consulting anyone, he went out and gathered enough wood for a pyre, built it, got the party together to light it, then sat there all night until the ashes were cooled. It was a lovely moment, but it was never discussed again. More than a real-time year later, we lost Thunk in battle. His actual death didn't get me, but the fact the whole party remembered this detail, and without any table discussion or verbal coordination, all started working together to build Thunk a pyre, and all of them risked the point of exhaustion to hold vigil over Thunk until his ashes had cooled. Oh, that's actually really beautiful. Got pretty close, but one of my friends did at that session. It was supposed to be the end of the first act of our, at the time, 2-year-long campaign. We thought it would end on a happy note, knowing a time skip would happen after. Boy, were we wrong. We ended up killing a monster who served evil godlike beings from another dimension. This caused the creatures to invade our world, killing a bunch of people, including some dear NPCs we had. The fighter of our group got hit the worst. Those otherworldly monsters first invaded an island thought to be impenetrable. It was the same island where our fighter was in the middle of his wedding. They tried to escape through some tunnels, but it collapsed on top of the fighter's wife. Every member of our group suffered heavy losses that session, but the fighter's player was devastated. It was the only time I saw a player genuinely cry during a session. We didn't even get a proper revenge, since the group dissolved during COVID. Right here, right now, I'll give you the epilogue you never had. Thunk in the afterlife is watching over that fighter's wife, and they're laughing and cackling as they're shedding blood, sweat, and tears, beating the hell out of all those evildoers. And you know what else? You guys, the party, you shit-stomp the hell out of those evil godlike beings, because every god can truly bleed. Oh boy, this was actually a double whammy of a session, and genuinely made me bawl. Throughout the campaign, we had a skeleton NPC with us named Steve. There was a minor antagonist we were sent to kill called the Twisted King, and he was a necromancer with the unique ability to control any undead. This included Steve and a party member who was a ghost paladin named Stone. After a mini-boss fight, Steve fell 30 feet, and we all went down to try and save him. But sadly, he didn't make it out alive. Fast forward to the boss, we were all still sad about Steve, and the boss takes control of our ghost paladin, leading to our monk Jet getting killed. The pain of killing his friend allowed Stone to break free, brutally murdering the Twisted King. In the next session, we started by mourning Steve, and then held a funeral for Jet, which I ended up writing a speech for. Hey everybody, grab your tissues and wipe those tears away, blow your nose, and get a little bit of a snuggly-wuggly going on, because I'm here to check in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and to ring that bell for more notifications on when we post a video, or in the rare case we do go live. Now, if you have a story, like a little tearjerker you'd like to share, it's never a problem to cry. Do so, because it's a beautiful act. And give us this story down in the comments below, or on our subreddit r/MrRipper. And me, Brian Von VA, come say hi to me over on Twitch. You can do so through my website, brianvonva.com, link in the description. I'm always streaming. Come say hi. That said, again, I want to expand upon the point that it's never wrong to cry, and it's never wrong to be happy, and it's never, ever wrong to smile. It's okay to feel emotions as a man, woman, child, elder, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, nothing. Feel those emotions, because that is what life is truly about. That is the variety of life. I love you all. Please be happy. Say you love somebody today, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.